Hello everyone, my name is Corazar, and welcome back to the Vintage Story Guide. We are back on what is basically the first really dark and dreary day of winter. Now, in the last episode, we spent a little while recapping all of the cool things we've built and all the progress we've made in this world so far. And we are now at about 150 hours in this game. And that is a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of work over the last 6 months. And boy, does it feel good to stand back and take a look at all that we've accomplished. 150 hours. That's how long we've gone without seeing a whole lot of content. Because you see, we live up here in the, well, not necessarily the far north, but in a temperate climate. We have seasons. In the middle of the year, it is summer, and at the beginning of the year and the end of it, it is winter, as it is now. But did you know that just like in real life, Vintage Story actually has poles in its world, assuming you didn't make a patchy climate world. But yes, it has poles and a band of warmer weather in the middle, and bands of very Arctic and Antarctic weather in the north and south respectively. Now currently, the far north and the far, far south, i.e. Arctic and Antarctic, don't have any unique content beyond a lot of ice. And I mean a lot of ice, and not a whole lot else. However, in between, right smack dab in the middle, we have the equator. And there is some content there. There's some new trees, some new plants and animals and things that we have not seen in 150 hours of playing this game. Now, we did see it last season, and it was really cool. We spent a long time down there. We actually moved down there, and we never moved back north. And this time around, we're going to do something a bit differently, and we're going to go down there to explore and witness what there is to see and check out the new biomes, but we're also going to go down there and gather some materials that we can't get up here in the north. For instance, we have this redwood tree right here. Well, very short redwood tree that is. And this is a tree that we have not seen growing naturally anywhere up here, right? That's because we had to buy the seeds from our agriculture trader right over there. Same for these kapok trees right there and right there. They don't grow naturally up here. In fact, they probably shouldn't grow here at all. But again, we bought seeds from our trader friend and we planted them and we can get kapok wood. But did you know there are 4 more kinds of wood that we don't have access to? There is bald cypress that tends to grow near redwoods. And then in the area, or same areas that kapok grows, at least same heat areas, we have acacia, we have ebony, and we have purple heart. And I want to go down and get some of those trees, some of their seeds specifically, and bring some of the wood back for some new upcoming projects. In the interest of that, we are going to need to pack up and head south for a little while, which means we should probably prepare by getting some more meat and maybe letting our animals grow up a little bit, and maybe even have some more babies. Have some babies, kids. That's right. Baby it up in here. And you guys need some more food here too. So I'm going to start preparing for this journey by gently harvesting our animals. And by harvest, I mean, it's kind of like picking fruit off a tree. There's no violence involved. And we are going to salt some meat to have for when we come back. We're also going to prepare a couple meals to bring with us, as well as some extra materials, some extra ingredients for more meals. Now, a long time ago, in an episode far, far away, we made a bismuth bronze cleaver. Now, this is a tool we have not had a use for until very recently, specifically now, and that is, it is a tool for gently harvesting your animals without freaking them out so much. Now, normally, when you have a generation 0, 1, or 2 animal, you kind of have to do things the old-fashioned and not particularly pleasant way of stabbing your creatures until they run around and keep stabbing until they die. Not great. However, with Gen 3s and beyond, which is basically all of these, I think we don't have any Gen 2s left. That would be correct. We can just take our cleaver and hold down right-click. Boop. And no panic. We're all good. Now we have 2 boar and a whole bunch of sows. We're going to clean up this mess. And by mess, I use that word lovingly. And we're going to turn them down to just a few sows and one boar. So, pardon me for a moment here. That ought to do. And then I'm also going to clean up our sheep pen here because we have a lot of generation zeros and we need to have exactly 0 zeros. I would love to have basically all Gen 2s, but we're going to have to see just how many U's we'll have then. And also, I don't want to kill our pregnant Gen 1 U's because they might produce another Gen 2 U. So I'm going to get to that, and then we're going to run back to the house and start prepping in earnest for our trip. Okay, our sheep and pigs are now somewhat more manageable. I am going to, for this journey, we're going to bring along what little cured red meat we have. This isn't a ton. I'm not super jazzed that we don't have that much of it. I should have kept on top of that a bit more, but it's what we have. So we'll bring this along. Now, the next thing we're going to be doing is we need to make sure we have the tools we need in order to harvest what we need when we get there. Now, there will be some new crops. We can harvest those by hand or with knife. There will also be some trees, and for that I'm bringing along our iron shears and our iron axe. Now, there are also fruit trees. However, unlike the regular big trees, tropical fruit trees just won't grow here. They will just die. So I am not going to bring back any of those because there's absolutely no point to doing so. Because even in our greenhouse, greenhouses only affect the vernalization temperature of your trees. It doesn't affect their maximum or minimum. So if you're hoping to grow mangoes in a temperate greenhouse, tough luck. Now, something else that we're going to do, and I said I wanted to generally avoid doing it, but this I think is an exception to that rule. We have a translocator down in the middling south. Let's see, it is down somewhere here. Yes, we have it right down here in our iron mine. I think it's right up in here. And I want to fix it up, and then I want to use that to double jumpstart our journey, because we're going to go from here straight down to this translocator, and from here we'll head out to this location, and we could just go south. We are getting a 6-kilometer head start. That's pretty good. However, in the interest of time and hard drive space, or SSD space, I think we're going to do the thing that I showed you a few episodes ago, where we will save before we go to the translocator, and then we will fix it up, see where it goes, and if it doesn't take us farther south, and significantly farther south, then we'll reload and try again. And I won't walk you through that process a second time. If you want to check it out for yourself, you can check out the, I think it was the Tinkering Translocator or Translocator Tinkering episode, and see how it's done. Now, I do also want to get into a new mod that we haven't touched before. It isn't new on the series, per se, at least not in the world, but we haven't touched it before. And that is the Joy of Sailing mod. Because we can make a sailboat. We can make a redwood sailboat. Oh, yes. Yes, please. So I want to try this out, because although we do have these rafts, and maybe we'll make one of each. We'll make a raft and an oar and a sailboat, and we'll see which one we like better, because I'm going to bet that we will run into some large lakes on our trip south. So let's plan for that, and let's make one of each of these. We need a crude oar. It's going to be 2 rope. Oh boy. Oh boy, do we have rope? I only made 4. Ooh. We have 2. Okay, we have 2 left. We can make 2 more. How much rope do we need for a raft? We need 2 for you and 3 for you. Okay, so we need 1 more rope. That's, what, 6 more cattails? I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Okay, 6 more cattails, 1 more rope. Okay, let's see. What do we need for this now? We needed... Ooh, good question. Can I make a redwood? I can, but I need those. Okay, that's fine. We have a couple of the redwood branch logs hanging around here. So we have 1 oar. And then, ooh, uh-oh. Can I make a redwood raft with the branch blocks? Oh, no, I can't. Ah, Okay, well, what's the next color I'd like to make it out of? Let's do K-Pop. So we need logs like... We need 12. Oh my goodness. That's a pricey raft. Boy, that's like 2 trees worth in general. Now, for the sailboat, we're going to need some sails. So let's do... Just split you guys up and do that. We need 2 sets of sails. And then what else do we need? We need the rope. We needed the wood. And let's see, Redwood sailboat. Nails. 8 nails. Okay, I think we have that. Yes, plenty of nails. And then we need 20 redwood boards. And hey, if we take these 3, add it to the 2 boards we already have, that gets us exactly not 20 because I miscounted. Okay, so boards, sails, rope, nails. I'm a poet. Now we have a sailboat. We're just carrying a whole sailboat. That's how real life works, in case you're wondering. This is actually how I take my sailboat around places. Like, who needs a trailer? I just carry it. I mean, come on. Just minify it and carry it under your arm. Oops. And if you throw it, it gets really big. We're just going to tuck that away up here and forget about it. Okay. Well, I think we're about set. I am going to go and make some meals, and then I think we'll be off. And boy, am I excited to show you this. This is going to be some fun stuff. And you know what? Just in case I was a dummy and I didn't fix up that translocator with the metal parts, and I think I did. It would be very unlike me not to. We're going to bring some metal parts along with us, just in case. I almost feel like we should maybe even bring along a couple more temporal gears in case we come across another translocator. Alright, I'll see you when I'm ready to go. Alright everyone, I have gathered all the things I think we need. We don't have much space left in our inventory, but we do have a wooden chest we can carry on our back. And we will free up some room as we use these gears and as we start eating down some of our food. So, yep, everything else we need we should be able to find on the way. So, let's get to it. Okay, folks, here we are at the first lake edge. I don't hear any bears at the moment, so we should be safe to try out. Let's start with the raft, because it is in the default game. It is not a mod. In order to use the raft, you need to right-click it into the water. You can right-click into it, and then as long as you have an oar in your hand, I think it has to be in your main hand too. Yep. Then you can go forward. You can steer left and right with your left and right keys that would normally strafe you, and you can look around as usual. So you can't actually use any items, so if you are being pursued by a bear or drifters, unless you want to stop and switch to a bow or a sword, you really can't do anything about it. Apparently we can go spearfishing for rabbits in the water though. This isn't too bad though. When I tried it in the preview version of the game, it was I think about 25 or 30% slower, so this is a nice improvement. It was definitely needed because, man, it was kind of painful to use. Now, when you're going to get out, if you don't want to get wet, and we don't because it's kind of cold still, we're going to stop right here. We're going to crouch to get out. It'll put us nearby. And then you can crouch and right-click to pick it back up and put it back in your inventory. And now I believe our little ladder down to our translocator was... I have no idea. I thought we had dug up to the surface. And, you know, I know we did. I just don't know where it came out. So we're going to go down there and find it again. I do know that it was not this direction. Was it back here? Nope. You were... Aha, back here. Yes. So here's our little ladder up. Let's go ahead and we're going to mark this thing. Hey, we did fix it up. Good. Okay. So, Translocator. And this is going to be red because it leads away from home. Now, before we actually activate it, I'm going to, once again, I'm going to save my game here. I'm going to back up. And we are going to wait for it to finish. There we go. And I'm going to back up my save file and move it out of here as well as my map file. And I'm going to repair this translocator once and then maybe a few more times until we get a decent way south. So I'll see you all in just a moment. Alright, here's attempt number 1. Boom. We are pretty close to the surface. We are not that much farther south. We are a couple kilometers. So we're going to try that again. Okay, this is attempt number 2. Let's go and see where we end up. Oh, here we go. We are 7,000 more kilometers south. Yes. Yes, I'll take it. On attempt number 2, we made it pretty far south. Now, I'm going to go and remark our other TL because I lost that map marker for some reason. And then we're going to dig our way out of here. I'm not going to take anything from these because we can't put them back in. But we do have another blackguard helm, which is pretty cool. And some gears. And some junk. So, cool beans. We're just going to go ahead and start our way up. Kind of surprised there aren't any ruined ladders here, which is kind of weird. Whoa. That's more like it, though. Alright, we have made it. Wow. We're in the middle of a desert, looks like. That's pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and make a little marker here. Here we are. Now I spy on the map a trader. Let's go say hello. Hello. Commodities trader Ruslan. You have a very fancy mask there. What you trading? All kind of good stuff. Nifty. Ooh, potash. Maybe I will come visit you eventually. Well, we are here, and as you can see, it is... Well, it's still only 8 degrees, but we're also about 20 blocks above sea level. 20 meters. So, it is a bit chillier here. So, let's start moving south. And while we go, we're going to talk about what kinds of things we can start to expect to see as we continue traveling. Now, I am probably going to, unless it gets to be kind of hairy from a temporal standpoint, I am likely to mostly just keep running through the night. Although these highlands make me a bit nervous. It means falls are longer. But yeah, I'm going to keep running through the night for the most part. Maybe we'll stop around, I don't know, 10 or so if it gets too hard to see, and we will take a bit of a rest. But that's why we have our fancy little bed with us. And I'm going to, man, I'm going to be so sad because so many great flowers, lupins in all manner of colors. I'm going to try to avoid taking any of them because we do not have that much storage space. Now, of course, as you head south from the northern temperate areas, you are going to see warmer temperatures. And as you can see, it's not warm here, like I said, but we'll get south. But when we get down from here, it should warm up a little bit. Plus, it is still nightfall, so let's get down here. Try to chart a path because I don't want to go through mountains or forests that are super thick. Oh, it is now high relativity, so we're going to change our plans. We are indeed going to sleep. Opened up right next to my ear. My goodness. Let's just build a little tiny hut right here. I'm going to go ahead and sleep because I do not really feel like running around with drifters. Although, you know what? Let's go for a little while longer because it is still only 5:30. We sneak our way through here. Now, one thing you'll start seeing are lily pads, by the way. These are great little decorations you can pick up and put down anywhere. Now, they are seed deterministic as far as whether they will have flowers on them or not. So if you put them here, for instance, they'll always be the same one. Put them there, they should always have flowers. Again, I'm going to avoid collecting them because although they are great, we can get some a little bit closer to home. Now, I think I heard a bear, so we're going to back up here. And we're just going to, we are going to put down a bed. And I'll see all of you in the morning when we're ready to move on. Okay, folks. I don't know if you can hear it, but we seem to be surrounded by drifters. So my plan is we're going to book it south to here. Hopefully miss the bear on the way. There's that. Get some crops. And this poor guy, we'll leave the bear to him. And then we're going to try the sailboat mod, the Joy of Sailing mod, on this lake here. Hopefully it's a bigger lake than, like, bloop. But I guess we're going to find out here. All right. Wish me luck. That bear is drowning. And it does not like us because of that. Okay. Here we are at the water's edge. Let's go and try out this sailboat, huh? Hop on in. How do we raise the sails? Ah. Apparently shift raises the sails. However, there's no wind, so we're going to get nowhere in this. I did not realize that. Okay. Well, whoops. Let's pick this back up. We're going to use the other method of water traversal. Let's go and take a spin on our raft again. Well, sailboat mod for later, I guess. I guess one of the downsides of it is that the sailboat mod only works when there is actual wind. I do wonder, can we just ride through these lily pads here? Or are they going to stop us? Oh, okay, good. Cool. Now, I think we're going to avoid this forest here. We're going to pop down to this southern part here, and we'll keep going from there. Now, you will see some climatic variation as you move. So here, it's still, only 2.3 degrees. That's almost as cold as it is at home, and we're seeing frost here even. So, yes, you will still see winter a good distance south, but eventually you'll start seeing different things. In particular, crops. You'll first start seeing things like sunflowers, and then you may start seeing maybe orange trees or peach trees. I find peach trees to be kind of rare, so I don't usually find them. But orange trees are a pretty common sight once you get far enough south. And you also start seeing things like maybe amaranth, or soybean, or rice as you get farther south. And those are some pretty good hallmarks that you're starting to get into kind of the right climate. You'll also see that cattails will give way to papyrus eventually, and papyrus can be used in the exact same way that cattails can. They just spawn naturally farther south. So I'm going to continue our journey, and I'll see all of you when we come across the next big thing to take note of. Alright folks, so you will see that we have wind coming from this direction, which is maybe unfortunate. Yeah, I'm not sure we're going to be able to sail very far in this. But let's see how far we can get. How fast we can get going. Hey, oh wow. That's actually pretty good. Not too shabby. What I don't know is how we turn this boat. How does one turn a boat? Apparently that, if you crouch, you will just end up in the water. How do we turn the boat? That's a real good question. Duh. Turn the boat with the crude oar. Yep, okay. That's how you do it. Silly me. So, now if we go... Can we go against the wind entirely? Or does it prevent us from going? Okay, so we basically get free wind in most directions. It looks like... Oh, a little glitchy there. Turned too fast. Okay. So I have the simple wind direction on. Randomize the direction of the wind. However, the base vanilla game doesn't quite understand that. So while the sailboat acts as if we had wind from varying directions, the in-game particles from weather won't actually show you that information. Now I think we are going to actually spin this boat around. We're going to go this direction. And we're going to head down here, I think. Oh, and the wind direction just changed. We're going to make port here and go south from here. Oh my goodness. This is fast. Crash! Can we crash the boat? What happens? Nothing. Okay. And just like your raft, you can pick up the boat with your crouch and right click. Alright, onward and southward. And avoiding bearward. Hey. Hey, hey, hey. Look at that. So here is one of the things that you will notice, that you will spot as you move farther and farther south, is that you will see redwood forests. And they are usually pretty easy to spot on the horizon because they have a sort of unique color. They're not quite pine, they're not quite anything else, and they're generally always green. They also almost always spawn in places where it is common or greater rain. Usually I find it in almost always raining locations. Let's say hello to this friendly trader that will never say hi to ever again. Hello. Yeah. Ah, an artisan. Okay. Cool. Bye. Let's get over to yon redwoods, bearing in mind that while the farther south you go, the fewer wolves and bears you start to see, until you see generally none, redwood forests can still have bears. Black and grizzly. They're no fun. They can also have wolves, and they do love to spawn in there. Now I'm seeing something else here that is a hallmark of the similar kind of area to redwoods, is that we have a grove of bald cypress. Right here. This is a tree we've not seen before in this season, just yet. But they are trees that tend to spawn on the edge or even inside water. As you can see, they are spawning in water, and they can actually grow underwater. Actually, I think most trees can technically grow underwater. I'm going to stay mostly on the edge of this redwood forest, but as you can see, it is a place full of very imposing trees. I love the shift of the sound of the rain to hitting the tree leaves. Yeah, this place is dangerous as all get out. So let's go ahead and let's defoliate a few of these trees. I want to get maybe a dozen or so seeds, and then we'll take down a couple of these trees and get their wood. I don't want to go home with too much wood, but I figure maybe like 2 stacks of each kind of wood would be a pretty good haul to bring home. Aside from their spawning pattern, these trees operate just like any other tree. Hit them with your shears to get sticks and seeds. Hop amongst their branches and try not to fall, although with these, if you do fall, you're likely to take less damage from the water. Let's go see if we have any seeds yet. Oh, ouch, crunch. I don't see any just yet. These aren't super conservative with their seeds. Oh, here we go. We got 2 already. Neat. So these are the bald cypress seeds. Let me get somewhere over here. We can chuck them on the ground, take a look at them. So there's what they look like and how large they are out in the world. They're pretty small. Although they show a little pack of 3, they do only plant 1 tree. And then let's go ahead and we're going to take down this tree right here. There we go. And let's take a look at the lumber this wood has. I didn't bring our saw with us, so we can't cut it into boards, but we can at least take a look at the raw lumber. So here we have a bald cypress log, or 2. You'll see it has sort of speckles on it, and these speckles, like this black one here, and this orange or yellow one, and this orange one here, these do carry over into the wood. So if you want a nice, smooth, pale wood, you're going to want to look at the larch. But if you're looking for something really pale, this is the way to go. So I'm going to take down a couple more of these trees, get as many seeds as we can, and then we'll move on from here. Alright, welcome back. It is the morning. What's that? Are you accusing me of making a hobo stick out of a tree and putting my bed here? No, I would never do that. No. That doesn't sound like me at all. Nope, not a bit. Anyway, getting out of our hobo stick tree. I only got half a dozen seeds, but there are wolves like... you can't see them from here, but there are wolves like literally right over there howling at me all night. And so I got a bit nervous and I figured, you know what, let's just hold off on more. So I think 6 seeds is enough. I'm going to chicken out and not spend any more time doing this, but 6 seeds is plenty, or it should be. There's a chicken running from wolves in the woods, so let's just keep moving on. And, ow. And I want to go, let's see, we're going to go out this way and then south, and we'll see what we can find from there. Now we are starting to get to the places where we can find things like sunflowers, rice, and soybeans, so I'll point that out if we come across any, and we certainly should. It's a matter of when, not if. Alright, here we are going through and over the mountains. Boy, my spacebar is going to hate me after this one. Sorry, Lammy. Well, we are pretty darn high up here, aren't we? Check that view out. Okay, you know, I'm not sorry we came up here after all. This is definitely the place to be. Now this here is kind of like a slightly warmer version of home at this elevation. Ooh. Remember I said Terra Preta? Yep, we are doing Terra Preta. Yes, this is a sort of slightly warmer version of home based on the elevation. And you can end up with interesting places in the south. And I might want to build a home at some point. Maybe not in this series, maybe another one in the south where we have like a temperate kind of climate, but year-round. We got a bit of that in the first season, in the second half, when we were down in the south. And although that one was a little bit warmer than temperate, unless we were like up in our base. But yeah, so we can actually get larch trees growing deep in the south if we look hard enough and look high enough. So while it's not generally possible to fully transplant southern crops to the north, it is possible to transplant northern crops to the south. So for instance, up here, we could potentially have some fruit trees, because in the summer, this would probably be a pretty temperate summer. And then it gets a winter, so that the fruit trees can vernalize, which only the northerly trees require. And then that's a wolf. Are there more of you? No. Okay. But yes, so it is possible to do that. Oh, hey, check it out. Yeah, let's keep following the contour of this. I don't like the visibility here. I'm going to swap out for my shield in case more wolves try to pop up and gank us. But yeah, let's follow these Misty Mountains. That's their name now, the Misty Mountains. And I know I mentioned it before in this season, but adventuring feels so much more dangerous now in 1.18. Granted, bears have been around since 1.17, but I didn't notice them as much in 1.17. We had to sort of search for them to find them. And so they didn't feel like quite as much of a threat. You also, oddly, will still see the colder climate crops growing when you go south. And the inverse is not true. So you're not going to see, say, sunflowers growing in the deep north, but you will still find like turnips and carrots and stuff growing in the south, which I think is probably something that ought to be patched out, because it doesn't make sense that you'd find turnips growing where they would just die. Here we go. Hello. What are you? A luxurious goods trader. Nifty. You also start to see berry bushes disappearing. Now, we're still seeing red currants, but eventually we will no longer be able to find berry bushes growing out and about. And if you start your game in the south, which you certainly can do, but if you start your game in the south, then the trade-off is that you can grow your crops typically year-round, unless you're in a super-duper hot area. But generally, yeah, you can grow your crops year-round, which means you don't have to worry about foraging for half the year and then growing for the other half, because you can just grow your crops. Now, in addition to what I call the Redwood Forest biome, you will start seeing things like hot deserts and jungles. Bear in mind, though, that Vintage Story doesn't have distinct biomes like that other block game does. Instead, it has sort of an overlapping series of heat maps that determine things like how much forest there is, how fertile it is, how much rain it gets, and how warm it is, which can cause some climatic variation. So keep that in mind, but you will see things that really do stand out as biomes. It's sort of a more natural means of creating biomes. Hey, more Terra Preta. Not too bad for spotting it in the dark. 39, not too shabby. Now, we had an option earlier. I could keep going this way. That leads straight into some more woods. I figured that this is probably a better proposition. So, yep, we're going to pass through hopefully a teeny tiny sliver of redwoods here. And then we should be smooth sailing. Get it? Because we'll be on the water. It's a joke. You can laugh now. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I know, I'm just a joker. All these creative jokes of mine. Very original. Alright, folks, it is morning at long last, and let's continue our journey south by ship this time, hopefully. We have a moderate breeze. Let's see if that lets us sail at all. We're going to raise our sails with the sprint key. Also going to back out into... okay, we can tack into the wind a little bit, I guess. We'll just be very tacky. Now, here we go. Here's something that I consider to be a sign of being in the middling south. We're not quite deep south yet, but we are seeing here a new kind of tree, as well as a new crop. Let's take a look. So here are some sunflowers. These are growing sunflowers. They will get to stage 12 and they'll kind of wilt over, and then we can harvest them for grain. I'm going to start carrying our box on our back, I think. Let's just tuck you in here. I'm going to tuck the boat in here too. It hasn't really been that useful. And maybe some of this. That should do. So, sunflowers, let's take a look at them. See if we'll get a seed or not. Here we go. Sunflowers are actually interesting because although they only spawn in the middling south, they will actually grow just fine up where we live. So we could grow them right where we're growing our flax because they have the exact same cold and heat resistance. And, unlike flax, they use nitrogen. So we'll take some seeds, why not, just for novelty's sake. And then let's look at these trees here. So these are green spire cypress leaves. They are quite different from the bald cypress over there. And these are very Mediterranean kind of trees, and they don't have their own distinct kind of wood. In fact, if they even spawn with a trunk at all, then they only produce firewood. So here are the green spire cypress seeds. As you can see, I'm going to take our box back off our back. As you can see, they are pretty identical to the other ones, just a very slightly different angle. Nope. Not at all, actually. Just a different size of the tooltip because of the text. So yep, easy to mix those up, but they are neat trees for decoration, but they don't produce any resources. But I do love the look, so I'm going to grab a few of these seeds and we'll see if we can propagate them a little bit. Also, their leaves don't break like other trees do. If you break them, leave them floating, they will stay floating for basically forever. And that there is the problem with the green spire cypress, is that they actually don't produce all that many leaves, so you are likely to not be able to propagate them unless you have as many seeds as you ever want to plant. There are a few more over here. I'm going to get these and we'll move on. Here we are in, I guess, what's kind of an almost hot desert. It's still only, 15.5 Celsius, so not even room temperature. So, yeah, we're not quite in real deep south territory yet. But don't you worry, we'll get there eventually. Oh, and I spy another sign of being in the south. Something you'll see a lot in the deeper south is right here, some amaranth. Amaranth is a grain. See if we can get some seeds. Hey, and we got a grain too. Wow, I'm gonna eat that real quick just to get rid of it. But this is a grain, works just like spelt or rye. Has 60 satiation, can be turned into flour, and from there into bread. One of the differences between amaranth and the southerly crops, aside from rice, that produce grain, is that traders won't buy bread made from them. Traders will only buy bread made from rice, flax, spelt, and rye. So although this is really cool and handy for living in the south, it's not terribly useful if you're looking to sell it to make money. But you'll see, this is cold resistant only down till 6 degrees Celsius, so we're not going to be able to plant it very much up north. But again, for the novelty, we'll take some seeds. Why not? And a seashell. Very tempting. Not falling for that trick again. Now, when you're in the middling south, I do still recommend avoiding forests if you can. Because although we're almost 20 kilometers south of spawn, in these forests, while you won't find brown bears, you can still find plenty of wolves and the occasional black bear. Although with a pine forest this size, it might be worth braving it for all the resin it might have. Look at that sunset, though. It's making the sky a little bit green, even. And here's some more amaranth. And time for a meal, too. Oh, and I hear bees. Not too bad, there it is. I find bees actually quite easy to find in the south, because they do like to be where it's a bit warmer. While they're still around in the north, they're not quite as prevalent, and you have to search harder to find them. Now, I am hearing a rift, so I think we should probably think about bunking down for the night. Oh, what a view. Look at that. Wow. You're not as likely to have wolves in areas like these, even though they're kind of similar looking up north. You can still get plenty of wolves. They're just not quite as common in these sort of birchy, ferny areas down in the south. Oh, game. You do me dirty. You do me real dirty, game. Sometimes. I'm telling you guys. This game just knows how to tempt me. Oh, but here we go. Here is one of the sort of early signs of being in the deeper parts of the south. We have a new flower here that we haven't seen yet in this season called orange mallow. I'm going to try to collect maybe a stack each, or at least... Oh, here we go. Because I'm going to try to collect like a stack-ish of each kind of new thing we see to bring home. But we have here gazelles. Look at them. Gazelles you will only find in the middling and deep south, kind of toward the deep end of the spectrum there. But yeah, they will wander the deserts and the plains and the savannas. And they're basically like sheep that you can't actually tame. They have a very long seek range, so they will sense you from a long ways away. And they will run like crazy. And this is probably a... Yep, it's a meteor. We're going to leave it here. I'm spying more signs of us being in the deep, deep south. At least the fringes of it. Because over here, we have soybeans. We have young soybeans growing in the wild. Soybeans are a wonderful little crop. Let's see if we can get a seed or two here. Hey, there we go. Now, soybean seeds you can find in seed vessels up in the north or anywhere else. But they grow best in warmer weather, but they are relatively cold tolerant, just like flax and just like sunflowers. They are, however, a K crop with a relatively high consumption of nutrients, but a quick growth time, only 11 days. Compare that to 18 or 17 from these two. And they are the only plant-based source of protein that can be used in meals. There is at least one other plant-based protein source I can think of off the top of my head. That would be peanuts, but peanuts can't be used in meals. So we're going to take some of these home and maybe start using some of these guys. So if you're trying to live a vegetarian or vegan life, well, soybeans are the way to go for getting your protein needs. We also have here in the, what I'm calling reasonably deep south, we have barrel cactus. These are cute little decorations. They're a lot of fun. And we also have saguaro cactus. Now, saguaro you can't actually break and bring with you, nor can you plant or propagate them in any way in the vanilla game as of 1.18. Which is unfortunate because they are a really neat feature, and you can find them with fruit growing on top. They will flower first, and then they will grow fruit. And the fruit is one of the few foods you can eat that actually heals you hit points when you eat it. Now, sometimes if you look closely, and if you look carefully, you might spot something silvery and slightly pink or red growing in higher locations, higher elevations, in deserts in the south. If you do, those are silver torch cacti. Yes? Oh, I'm starving. But those are silver torch cacti. And again, they can be harvested and they can be replanted, including in planters and pots. And they also make a great decoration. But I don't see any here. But when we do spot some, I will make sure to point it out and collect some. You can also find these bony cow skulls in the south. Oh, we are out of room. Let's tuck these in here. Let's tuck the mallow in there. Well, I think we're going to have sunflower seeds as well. And what else can go in here? Let's go ahead and eat this amaranth to get it out of our inventory. But yes, cow skulls are great for decoration. You can put them on the ground. You can hang them over doors. And you can find a couple of them in ruins, but they're not very common. Okay. I think we have ransacked this desert enough. Let's keep moving south. I'll take a quick peek in this vessel over here. We are finally getting to new features and things that we have not seen. Ooh, a seed vessel. What do we have? We have spelt. Not exciting. I spy with my little eye. Yes, I do. I spy some wild rice growing and some more fruit trees. Neat. Oh, no, this is not wild rice. This is actually a different kind of flower. Golden poppies. You fooled me. Yes, we are in the real south now, folks. The golden poppies received a texture and a model update in 1.18, so they're quite different from what I used to seeing. They used to be kind of a mixture of orangey yellow and bright yellow, but now they are basically all golden, which is kind of nice. They're very pleasant to look at and brighter than the orange mallow. Yellow apple. Yellow apple. Nope. Complete useless trees down here. They would not fruit at all. Hey, we're seeing some interesting stuff now. So here we have some tall ferns. These are kind of unique in that they're kind of like a grass. You can break them and they'll disappear, or if you harvest them with a knife, and specifically a knife, you can get the fern and plant them later. Now, even an axe will just destroy them, so you do have to use a knife. I think they all stack. Yes, it's sort of agnostic about their actual size, because again, that is seed deterministic. But we'll get a few of these, maybe put some in some planters at home for fun. Ooh, hello. A lychee tree, okay. Cool, we're starting to see some real warm climate stuff now. I'll get these real quick out of our way. So a lychee tree. I'm not going to collect any cuttings because they will not grow at all up at home. But lychee trees are a tropical tree. They do not require winter vernalization. In fact, they will die in winter if it gets too cold. Basically, all the tropical trees do not need to vernalize. They are evergreens, and so they just need to have enough time in the world to flower in the right season and then produce fruit. Now, lychees are kind of like cherries. They produce a lot of small fruit that don't provide a whole lot of satiation, and so I don't tend to like them very much. We do have over here another tree and some other trees, I believe. At least one that I can see. We have over here a cherry tree. Really? You would never ever fruit. We have right here a teeny tiny baby jungle. This is a kapok tree growing in the wild. Lots of vines. This is a lot closer to how they should look. The ones we've been growing from seeds up at home have been very tiny and have had very, very few leaves, and only at the very top. This is kind of more their speed. I do usually find that they don't have as many leaves on the trunk down here, but usually 5 or 6 blocks up, they get very, very bushy. We should expect to see more of these, and maybe we'll see some farther down there as we continue, but I'm going to find a safe place to bunker down for the night. You grab a few more of these beautiful flowers, and then I'll see all of you in the morning. Guys, I thought I heard a bear, and I did, but it's a panda bear. This is our first panda sighting in this season, although I think I hear another bear over here. It might not be a panda. Nope, I guess there's that panda. I'm not going to get too close still, because they can still pack a wallop, but panda bears are not normally aggressive. They will actually kind of ignore you for the most part. However, because of a quirk in how the game works, if they get wounded by anything other than another creature, then they will blame you for it. So if they start drowning and you are nearby, they'll blame you for it. 2 pandas, man. There's a sight to see. I'm glad we came down here. Oh, 3 pandas. Hello, panda. Hi, buddy. Yeah, they're pretty chill. Just, oh, he's getting close to the water. We're going to go this way. They love to drown in water, is my experience. Oh, here we go. Now we're in the deep south for real. We have papyrus. Yes, I do like papyrus. So papyrus is the South's analog of the Cooper's reeds. They function the exact same way, they do the exact same thing, and the only difference is that they grow in the South. Now, they don't have any growth requirements aside from stick them in the ground. I'm going to harvest a few and I'll show you how they work. So here we have papyrus. Cut it with a knife, get the papyrus part, cut it again, and you get the root, just like with a Cooper's reed. And again, you can replant them by crouching and right-clicking. And if you break them with anything but a knife, while you will get the tops, you do not get the root. The root goes away forever. So don't do that. And you can use this for anything that you can use the Cooper's reeds for. So shields, baskets, beanades, poultices, and so on. Skeps even, and rush matting. And yeah, they're pretty cool. I might grab a few of these to bring with us and plant back at home, just for curiosity and as a novelty. And also, once again, just like with the Cooper's reeds, you can cook these into cooked papyrus root, but I don't recommend it. While you can do it in the early game if you're really desperate for food, you generally end up spending more satiation getting them than you get from cooking and eating them. Alright, we've got 18 of these. I'll grab a couple more and then we'll keep moving. What have we here? Is this what I think it is? Acacia branchy leaves. It's a weird spot for it, but over there we might find some more. Acacia is one of the trees that I've been hoping to get some seeds from and some wood. Hey, check it out. These are acacia seeds. We can plant these and it'll grow up into a squiggly, gorgeous acacia tree with some very vibrant wood. I'm going to leave this here too. Goodbye. Don't need any more. You guys stay here. Let's go. Oop, let's not fall down there. Let's go over there. Since I see a dry area and acacia likes to grow in dry areas, let's go see if we can spot any acacia trees. Although I don't think I see any. Looks like oak trees from here. Well, we do finally have some wild rice for real this time. Not going to fool me again. Golden poppy. Although we have some seeds back home, I'm going to grab a couple of these just in case we'd like to have some more at home, and I would. Alright guys, it is morning, and we are off. We're going to head for this shore over here and head south from there because I see nothing but trees here, and that just spells trouble. First, a bite to eat, and on we go. Well, it looks like we have maybe some more kapok trees. Maybe. We'll go check those out. But most importantly, the most mysterious tree of all, the floating redwood tree. You gotta love that. Hey, look at this though. We have yet one more sign of being in the deep south. And of course it's right next to more papyrus. Let's go check it out. This is our first actual little jungle biome. And again, I know Vintage Story doesn't have distinct biomes, but this is a jungle biome. We have fern trees. These break down into firewood and cannot be replanted. So chop them down to your own risk if you want to deforest the area. Also have over here some crotons that are colorful plants. They do not count as flowers, but they are decorative plants that can be planted in planters or pots. And I'm going to leave them because there are tons and tons of different croton appearances, and they do not stack. Oh wow, we have here a 2x2 K-Pock. Look at that majesty. I advise not cutting these down along with the 2x2 oaks because they cannot be regrown by the player. There is no way to get 2x2s once you cut them down. I'm looking for something else in these little tree stands here. I'm not seeing any of them. There are a couple other odds and ends I want to find while we're here. And I'm just not seeing them. Ooh, hello. Right color, wrong object. That is another K-Pock. So, I think we're going to move a little farther south, and then I think we'll call the episode and declare victory in having found the Deep South. So, let's get going a little while longer. I want to get to maybe around 28 to 30 kilometers south before we say that we're actually here. And then, yeah, we should see a few more signs, and a few more consistent signs, more specifically, that we are in the Deep South. Like a complete lack of Cooper's reeds. You guys, go away. Hey, here we go. Check it out, termite mounds. Now these are kind of fun. I don't think they're very useful. I do wish, so there is actually a bug on a stick item, but you can't actually make it. Let's see if we can find it here. There we go, termites on a stick. So, perishable fresh for 2 days. There's no means of actually getting termites onto a stick. There's no right-clicking or shift right-clicking or left-clicking. You can break these, and you'll get a few termites you can eat as protein. Yummy, yummy. You can't cook with them, and they're not renewable, though. So just like the papyrus roots and the Cooper's reeds roots, once you eat them, they're gone. And now that we are in termite territory, we should see another protein source. A notably more aggressive one in the form of hyenas. Yes, we are getting pretty close to hyena territory. And once we get into it, we'll know because they will be everywhere. I spy something else new. Tuck you in here. In addition to a trader over there, we have some cassava. And it looks like it is mature cassava. Interesting. Now, cassava is interesting. I don't particularly like it. Like, it's neat to be in the game. I don't like using it. Because although we have this cassava here, we can't do anything with it. We have to soak it in water to make it edible. And, well, as you can see, we don't exactly have any barrels with us, nor do we have a saw to make a barrel. So these cassava are going to go soak in some water right here. Now, cassava is interesting in that if you soak it and then you eat it right away, or you cook with it, it counts as a vegetable. However, if you soak it and then peel it with a knife, which you do have to do, then you can let it dry out over the course of another day or so, and then you can grind it and use it as a grain. And it can be used for pies and for bread. So versatile, yes, but kind of difficult to process because it takes at least 2 days after you pick it before you can eat it. And onward through the desert and across the plains we go, chopping down trees along the way. And we come to another lake that must needs be crossed. And we traveled down great granite spires and corridors. And we found some more soybeans. We witnessed the splendor of great mountains and said, "Not today." And then we started to wonder where all the hyenas were at. And if wondering so would somehow jinx us and suddenly get swarmed by hyenas. And we harvested even more exotic wild crops. And finally, just as all hope seemed lost, we found another jungle. Yes. Yes, my friends. We have found it. We have found an actual jungle here. One that is large enough to actually have what we're looking for. That. That, my friends, is our very first purple heart tree. And that is our second purple heart tree. Oh, good. You're hit with the bug, too. These should not have so few leaves as that one does. And our third purple heart tree. Okay. Well. Well. Everyone, as the sun begins to set behind me, or as it continues setting, as it were, I'm going to declare that we are now in the deep south. I hope you enjoyed the journey here, and I hope you got a good idea of just kind of how big of a commitment it is to run for about 7 days straight to get to the southern part of the world and to where it is warm year-round. In the next episode, we are going to probably put down some temporary routes. It won't be as fancy as our Residence Archive routes because I did not bring as much, well, building materials, any building materials with us, except for some dirt. But we are going to run around here and we're going to look at and harvest as many of the new resources as we can to bring back home with us. Hope you're looking forward to it. And as always, my name has been Corazar. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.